Raheen, thank you so much for helping me with my project.
Welcome. It was my pleasure.
Can you tell me a little bit about yourself?
Yes, sure. So, hello everybody. My name is Fatima, and believe it or not, I am 12 years old. I am a stand-up comedian, a writer, an entrepreneur, a teacher, and also a theater actress. And so we were talking about a bit about NASA and how the moon stuff is. And so I like sci-fi kids shows. I like those, and I'm pretty much interested in the moon and everything. I don't like studying all that stuff, but I like watching movies about the moon. So yeah, I'm very interested. I actually wanted to go and live on the moon when I was 18. So that was something, instead of the teenagers that want to take road trips, I would rather go and live on the moon for a year. That's what I wanted when I was in the third grade. But then, of course, I outgrew this dream because I thought that, yeah, it's kind of expensive living there. Pretty expensive.
What kid sci-fi shows did you watch?
Okay, so I watched a lot of them, which I don't even remember for some reason. But like my all-time favorites is Greenhouse Academy. It's basically all about how people started going into the moon and then actually started working on the magnetic force, like the seismology or something. Yeah, they started working with earthquakes and everything, so it's quite interesting. Yeah.
I didn't quite catch the name. Could you say it again?
Yeah, it's Greenhouse Academy. It's a Netflix original show.
Greenhouse Abbey.
Academy.
Oh, Greenhouse Academy. Okay, I have to check it out. And it's a sci-fi show, you said.
Yeah, it's kind of sci-fi. Yeah, it is sci-fi. Yeah, it's. I say it's sci-fi. You might not find it that sci-fi.
I have to check it out. So did you know that NASA was planning to land people on the moon in 2024?
I did not know that, and you just don't know how happy I am because I'm gonna be going there before I turn 18. I'm gonna be 16 when I go there. If I would be part of that mission or something. Yeah.
Now, most of the people I've talked to also did not know that we were going to the moon in 2024. What are some things that NASA should do in order to get the word out?
Okay, so one thing that I think a lot of times that happens with NASA is that there's a lot of misinformation, and then the true information and the misinformation is, jumbled up because there's a lot of information about NASA because there's a lot of YouTubers making kind of videos. NASA is working for the people on Mars, so there's bizarre things happening on the internet. So I think really is to contact influencers and having a lot of people who are interested in moons and who are astronauts or they're working in the aerospace or the space stuff. So they get them to have this information, have this on their timeline, so that people could read it up and they know. So because they're influencers, so they would probably know how to market that.
That's great. Just out of curiosity, do you know the last time we went to the moon? Like how long ago it was? Like
I have no
approximately.
idea.
What do you think about 1972?
Yeah, 1972. Was that Armstrong?
That
I don't know.
Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin landed in 1969. So that was the first time, and then the last time was 1972.
We are pretty genius people. I thought it would have been 1972 or 1980s, but we figured the space out pretty well. Yeah, yeah.
But does it surprise you that we haven't been to the moon in the past 48 years?
It does, because I thought that if like after this Armstrong was like there for the first time, and then after the second time. But what I really think we should have gone there once. I mean, I think because also because of the fact that for 48 years they got so lost in research and satellites and so much that they just lost track of time or something through this 48 years and forgot to go on the moon. And
Yeah,
that's
I
the
don't think it's a
craziest
matter
thing.
of I don't think it's a matter of forgetting. I guess the one of the reasons why we went to the moon was to try to beat the Soviet Union. Soviet Union had launched the first satellite, launched the first person in space. They've done like all these things, and the U.S. couldn't even get anything into orbit. And so then we sort of put the moon out there as a way to sort of catch up with them, and then show that we were more technologically superior. And then once we landed on the moon, then like the people are like, okay, well you did it, so now let's use that money for something else. I think was the sort of what happened.
Yeah, because I guess like NASA's quite rich. I mean, yeah, it has a lot of money. But what I really think is that it would take a lot of money to get to the moon because it's not just the fuel, it's also the astronaut and probably the food and everything, and the oxygen and the dress.
Well, I mean, one thing to consider is rockets. We've often just throw them away. We use them one time, and then every time that you want to launch something, you have to build a whole new rocket. Um, and one of the things that's changing with this time is there's a company called SpaceX that's
SpaceX,
making
yeah,
oh, you're familiar with it. What have you heard of
yeah.
SpaceX?
Yes, I have a lot of Elon Musk everywhere. Yeah, because I was actually reading about SpaceX because I needed to catch up on some of Tesla and Elon Musk and a lot of things. So I was to catch up. I was reading about with SpaceX because when there's rockets, they're just launched and then there's okay. So the rocket is a big thing. It's not just thrown away, but it's not used again like for the same purpose. And what SpaceX does is that it can be used over and over again. So it reduces the cost to be, sent to the moon. And what I really think is the SpaceX was like saying, like use the rocket, go to the space. It's been 48 years. But yeah, I think if SpaceX here, it's not gonna take much money because it's reusable. So I think we should actually now finally go to the moon. Trust me, it's taking me along. Any astronaut is going to the moon.
Yeah, actually, SpaceX is planning to send a group of artists around the moon. There's this in 2023.
Okay, I want to be part of that. Now, who gets his field trip on the moon? Nobody, right?
Not yet. I think at some point, it'd be a common thing for kids to take a field trip to the moon.
Yeah, but when I think of a field trip and then I think of the moon, then I'm like kind of that's about 50 years away from that. Then the people have more money.
So, what do you think about space exploration? Is it? I mean, what kind of benefits do you see it having for humanity?
So, like I say, for traveling, it just gives you a lot of exposure, but because I believe there's no life on moon. So I really think so that when you're like to the moon and when you're going there, you are representing your world. If I go to India, I'm representing Pakistan. But if I go to the moon, I'm representing like all the countries. So I have a huge responsibility. And again, because I know that as a kid, when I saw a lot of things of rockets being launched and everything, and I was fascinated by it. Even there was a time where I wanted to be an astronaut, but then I was like, I don't, I don't want to be an astronaut. I don't know if they have good food there or not. So I had a lot of things. The interest changes, but I think it really has an influence on the people of the world and the people of your country, especially, and the people of your town. So forward than your family, your kids, or whatever. So I really think that it's important for us to go there and research more on that. But we should actually put down the research that we're doing here and go there and do that instead. We not put an office there, but go there, visit. There might have things changed. We never know. Satellites don't show everything.
Now, you were talking about eventually building a house on the moon. What do you imagine your house being like?
Okay, so it's a very funny story. First, I was quite young. I thought that nobody thought of buying the moon or something. So I was like, you know what? I would get like probably be a spy in the NASA. I'd go there. I just treat NASA people nice, and they'll let me go to the moon. I get to the moon, I see it, and I decide where my house would be. And then I, take over the entire place. And then I sell those residential plots because I had some of my family members in the residential plot kind of business. So I knew what those were. So I was like, you know what? They'd buy the place, build huge mansions, and I would have my mansion, a huge mansion on the moon. Who gets to have a mansion on the moon? Me. So yeah, I wanted to have that. And then I was a third grader. I was about 8 years or maybe 9 year old. And we were actually studying about the space at that time. We were studying about who Neil Armstrong was. Yeah, I think that was his name. Yeah, so we were studying about the moon and a lot of things about the moon and how the space and the gravity and the phases of moon. So it was all about space at that time. And I was like, I came home and the entire day I was wondering. I remember this. The entire day I was wondering that I really want to make a trip to moon when I turn 18. I'd be old enough to live alone because I don't want to take my parents along there. You know, I don't want another person. I want to be the only person living there. And I was like, I turn 18, I go there. So I told that to my friends and they were laughing. They started laughing. So I was like, am I seeing something wrong? I mean, people make their visits. I lived there for a year. I turn 19 and come back. But yeah, I would be because I knew a few facts about there. So I was like, I would take my own food cans because we had quite young food cans. So we were like, I just carry up some peaches and some yummy mushrooms and stuff, and I'd go there. And because I didn't even know much about gravity, and I was like, let's just go there and ask NASA, and actually go there as a spy or ask NASA, let's provide me oxygen and the suit and most of the things to let me live there for a year. And I imagine my house to be like this huge mansion. Not this like super huge mansion like those rich people want, but the huge mansion as in uh like a big place, but a very cozy one, like a very home feeling kind of person with a couch and it would be mostly like a place, like a normal house, like a cool house here. But with a twist, because the funny thing is that, like, from my house, I could see the moon from my window. But from there, I could see the earth. Since that's cool, right? That's my mom and dad. So yeah, and I cannot call my mom and dad. So I have no text from there. That'd be cool.
Do you have any plans to pursue a career in space exploration, or what do you plan? Do you have any thoughts on what
I
your
would
career
be
might
love
be?
to be part of space exploration because I really think that actually if I wouldn't really pursue a career there, but I'd be love to be part of one or two projects because I've been hearing that NASA actually gets some smart kids and does some like conferences or some stuff. But yeah, if they'd agree to take me along, then cool, I'd be part of that. But yeah, I'm not pretty much sure about my career because I really don't like studying a lot of that stuff, especially the phases of the moon. They're quite annoying sometimes. But when it comes to the fact, and it always depends on the way that it's being taught. So yeah, maybe I end up doing that. Maybe the next time you talk to me, I call to you from the moon. Imagine that.
That would be awesome. Now, some people have some reservations about us exploring space and going to the moon. There's two basic, well, maybe three basic reservations that people have. One is we have a lot of problems here on Earth. You know, global climate change, people starving, unequal development, these types of things. Um, how can we justify exploring space when we have these types of problems here on Earth?
Yeah. Uh, See, if we just focus on these problems, they might be solved. But we need to do our research as well. And research is for like the curious people. Because yes, we do want more people solving the problems. But yes, I think research is important because of the fact that if we are like researching about planets and everything, we might actually find a way to just finish global warming, like building another ozone layer or something. We might actually find that, and this could actually like potentially change global warming. And we might actually for hunger and starvation because of a lot of people living in the earth, like overpopulation. We actually could get a chance to move some to the moon, some to another place. Yeah.
And another reservation people have is, this thought of maybe messing up the moon or messing up Mars and these other places. I have heard one person say, we've messed up the Earth. Why do we want to mess up the moon too? And what would you say to that?
See, the thing is that we were sent to the earth, of course. And if we were sent to the earth, and we have advanced so much that we know that there's not just the earth, there's also other places. And I just read this news in the morning. Are there actually creatures on Mars? I just had this notification. There are creatures on Mars. And there's a gross picture of Mars and a antelope kind of looking uh creature that was touching the satellite. Yeah, so I had this notification in the morning, my time. I don't know. Are there actually creatures there?
Yeah, I guess, is there any concern about us going to the moon and causing some type of damage or harm? I mean, what are your thoughts there?
Yeah, damage or harm. See, the thing is that yes, we human beings have caused damage to the earth, but if we don't go there, then we will not discover. And see, our purpose is to discover more about. We need to discover more about this. And if we start discovering more about the moon, we would not mess it up because we're discovering we might actually mess some things up. Yeah, because it's kind of human nature. No, it's kind of part of the research we're doing. So yeah, but I really think if we start, even if we mess up some stuff, it's worth it because we have research and we might actually find more aliens there. We might make interesting discoveries there, which would actually help us being human beings and would actually solve some problems that we're having. If even if it's our problems with the environment, we might actually find some ways to clean it or to just take out our garbage and put it on the moon or something. That
And
could be done.
that's true. We might discover something. I mean, you know, electromagnetism was discovered by astronomers, and without knowing about electromagnetism, we wouldn't have wireless communications, and having a call like this would be nearly impossible. Um, but okay, so like the third reservation that there might be is that right now you have the United States, China, Russia, Europe, India, and Japan, and a few other countries that are able to launch things and places in the space. If these countries go out and sort of lay claim to the moon, to Mars, and what have you, then what kind of steps need to be taken to sort of preserve some places in the rest of the solar system for countries that will develop this capability later, like Pakistan, like maybe Egypt or Chile or Brazil or something like this. what kind of concern is there in terms of making sure that um, we still leave room for other countries who have yet to develop this capability?
Yeah, Pakistan being one of them. I still remember when India launched its first satellite or something, and like India became part of those countries. So, of course, Pakistani population was also like, what's gonna happen? How are we gonna get there? Eventually, every country and the entire world, like all our United Nations, we're actually gonna turn we're going to turn those countries who would have satellites out there, who would have those NASA departments and stuff. But I think NASA is the one who's going to be in charge at like who's going to be in charge. Like NASA is playing like the mom here. Like they'll be like, "Hey, clean up your rooms and stay in your rooms," right? So I think NASA is going to be the one who's going to be saying, like how much to have the place on your moon. But these countries are hoping from the big countries like Japan or India, which are developed enough and have launched their satellites. So I think we are never sure because we just have one country take over the moon. Like this could happen maybe tomorrow, but we are trusting them, and we are actually happy for them because what they did is with a collective effort. And yeah, I think we're just trusting them. We're just counting on them for this one.
Right. But how widespread do you think people are willing to trust one of these existing spacefaring countries? I mean, I think there are some people that would not trust them.
Yeah, there's always some people who are not trusting. I mean, I know people who are not trusting. But so like I remember there's a lot of things when India because we share the border, so we do have some problems. But again, India is our neighboring country. Once we were one, and we still are. I mean, we even if we have fights, we have wars, but we're still gonna be one because we're part of this world. And if it's us in Japan and us in America, we do a lot of us having troubles, doing that. I remember interestingly, there was so a few days earlier before one of my comedy shows, the India moon thing happened. So all of comedians had jokes on India being on up there for the satellite and everything, because of course for Pakistan it was like we're still not there, we're still not there. But I being an individual, I was really appreciating India for doing that because they're part of the world and we're part of the same world, so we are part of the same team, right? So we're counting on this one, and yeah, a lot of us do. So a lot of us have trusting issues, but on this one, because most of the people have to trust. I mean, they don't have another way. They can't just you know fly all the way to moon or something. They can't just do that and say, oh, all this is ours. They cannot do that. So I think they have no choice either than to trust the other countries. But I really believe that it's all going to be because we are making all collective efforts. Because even if I'm not going to moon, I'm staying here and watching the TV or whatever. I still have that thing, it's like somebody from the world, from my world, the same world I was born into, is going to the moon and is discovering more things and would help humanity and is exploring more. So he's representing us. It's like the representative goes out of one country to another for a political conference. So the countries are all like, oh my God, this is our man, right? So we should be like, oh my God, this is our man going to the moon.
And I guess you talked about putting a house on the moon. So I think I probably know the answer to this other question. But if it was safe and affordable, would you personally have an interest in going into space?
Okay, so if it's affordable, I would love to go into space. Yeah, if it's affordable, because even as a kid, I had this. Okay, how much? Okay, do I have to do part-time jobs and earn some money to go to the moon? But I cannot earn with part-time jobs. Even if I spend all my life for going to moon. So yeah, if it's affordable, then probably yes. Because if I could contribute to the research which is done about the moon and about the space, so yeah, I would love to go there, and I'd love to be part of any sort of mission. NASA, please, can I take me along to the field trip?
That's awesome. And I guess before we close up the interview, is there anything else that you think might be worth talking about or saying?
I really think that I would say there's a lot of information on the internet, and a lot of it is misinformation. So to all the people out there, even at times I would say, I am part of NASA. Somebody believes it or not, everybody wants to say that, even if they want to believe sometimes in this information. But I think as all united human beings, we would say, I would love to say that please do not spread out misinformation, especially when it comes to NASA and the space, because it's something that somebody might be looking forward to or something. So try not to because it's the world and it's the space. So we just not would play jokes there. So yes, please don't just forward it up. No, I receive a lot of WhatsApp messages and stuff that are just forward anything. They don't even read it. So I think stop forwarding and everything misinformation. And yeah, so yeah, one day you might actually see me on your TV screen launching it up.
I hope so. I hope
Yeah.
so. There was a person from Iran. I mean, she was born in Iran, but she grew up in Texas. Um, Anusha Ansari, and she actually went up to the International Space Station as a private tourist for a week.
Can I be a tourist there? I love to be one.
I definitely. I'm not sure how much it costed her. I think it was something like 30 or $40 million, but definitely would
Yeah.
take a while to save up for it, but not impossible either, right? It's just very difficult. It's just very difficult.
Yeah, what if I become friends with Elon Musk or something? We never know.
Never know. Well, Raheen, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate our conversation.
Thank you so much for having me here. It was wonderful.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much.